Scrambling back. I'm back. I made it. I just made it. Let's go. What's up? All right. So FarmCon, I'm going to move my camera. Not that. Moving stuff. Oh, man. I'm in shambles, chat. I'm in shambles. All right. We'll bring up the FarmCon sound once it gets rolling here. I just barely made it. Sorry. I grabbed a lemonade. Okay, here it is. Where's my mouse? Okay. Turn that off.
Welcome to day 2 of FarmCon 21. I hope you enjoyed the presentations yesterday and are looking forward to seeing more of Farming Simulator 22 coming out later this year on November 22nd.
All right, I'm locked in, buddy. Let's go.
Today is also the 22nd, so it's the perfect date to give you a deep look into the game. But more about that later.
All right, let's get back.
In the past few weeks, I've been thinking about our very first FarmCon 16 very often. A small tent in the garden of a former mill, way too crowded for a hot summer day, but we had long personal conversations with many of our fans there. Today, you can also chat with us here in the stream.
I want that hat, by the way.
On our Discord server during and after the show. I was told that you like raffles.
Chat, can you guys hear this all right?
Chat. From time to time, you will be able to win something.
You can hear it through chat.
But I want to tell you now when. You have to keep watching. So let's move on to our first topic today. You might be wondering what I'm doing here in front of a tractor engine. I could pretend that I know what all these parts are doing, but honestly,
flying everywhere
I don't.
right now.
Yet I could drive this tractor or a car without having to know what's going on under the hood.
That's good, okay.
It's the beating heart though, and everything
That's a nice little massy
around it. In video games, it's similar. I could play Farming Simulator, have fun, learn all the mechanics and features, while in the background, the Giants engine is making it all possible. Since the first Farming Simulator came out in 2008, we've added a lot of features to the Giants engine and continuously upgraded it. Farming Simulator 22 will be based on the Giants engine 9, and I'm glad that we have someone who can tell you all about it. I'll pass over to our lead software engineer, Thomas Brunner in Zurich, Switzerland. Grüezi.
I like the little backrest there for a passenger sitting on the fender. It's pretty lit.
Hi, I'm Thomas. I'm the lead engineer at Giant Software. Today I'm going to show you guys some updates made to our in-house developed game engine. People often ask why we are not using Unreal or some comparable engine. They ask why we go through all the pain of coding everything ourselves. So there's no doubt, using an existing engine such as Unreal would solve a lot of problems and also would provide a lot of features just out of the box. However, Farming Simulator has some special requirements which would make adapting existing engines quite difficult. For instance, the dynamic and static foliage system, which is fully synchronized in our engine, would be very difficult to implement or adapt in existing engines. Also, our vehicles have quite demanding requirements which cannot be simulated by physics systems of other engines. Apart from this, we have also other reasons which goes beyond just the features. Namely, we want to decide when and what features change during the development. This is especially important to make modding as simple as possible. Also, with other engines, modding wouldn't be even possible, or at least not in that extent we are offering it. So in the latest Giants engine, we added some new features for you guys. We added DirectX 12 support on PC. We have like the new optimization techniques, like the texture streaming system, occlusion culling, and various other graphics features. Farming Simulator 22 is going to be shipped using DirectX 12 API. This allows us to write more efficient code and to reduce the CPU overhead we had with the previous rendering APIs. DirectX 12 also allows us to use more cores. Texture streaming allows us to put more details onto our maps, and we no longer need to make sure that we can load all full resolution textures from the beginning. So in previous Farming Simulator version, we always loaded all the textures in the GPU memory at the very beginning. This is basically a good approach if you have enough GPU memory. But if you have like very high quality textures or even too many textures, the game gonna crash or you end up with a very low frame rate. The lack of the texture streaming system in previous farming simulator version was the main reason for the relatively restricting garage slot system we had on consoles. Occlusion calling basically prevents the engine from performing expensive rendering computation of completely hidden objects. For a better understanding, let me show you guys an example in our editor. So this is a very simple scene I've prepared you guys to show how occlusion culling roughly works. For instance, here we have like a big wall which can potentially hide other objects, right? It makes sense to have this wall set as an occluder.
So they're gonna hide stuff behind walls.
And if I place now the camera right behind the wall, I can't see the spheres behind, right? The occlusion culling system decides now that there is no need to compute these 3 spheres. And this can be checked here in our rendering stats. As you can see here, the occluded shape counts increase to 3. And we have 1 occluded geometry here. So I can move slightly the camera to the side until a sphere becomes visible here. Here we have the occluded shape count decreases to 2. And this is what occlusion culling does.
Aaron, what's up, bro?
And it also only makes sense to have occluded geometry for very big objects, of course, right? Only big objects can potentially hide others. Also worth mentioning is that in Farming Simulator 22, the terrain is also acting as an occluded geometry. The terrain occluded geometry is automatically generated and updated. Giant's engine uses a high-quality TAA algorithm by default, but it can also disable it if you don't like the result or for performance reasons. In previous games, we enabled MSAA as a default anti-aliasing technique. Compared to MSAA, TAA leads usually to better results. To show you better the difference between these two approaches, let me show you guys an example here in the game. Even with MSAA on, there are a lot of visible specular highlights flickering going this vehicle here. All these metal bars here suffering quite a lot of this rendering artifact. Now let's enable TAA and see how the image looks like. As you see, with TAA on, specular highlights glitches are gone, so it's really a notable improvement. We also added parallax occlusion mapping to all terrain textures. Parallax occlusion mapping is a real-time technique to approximate displacement mapping. It's a technique to approximate geometric details without the cost of the actual geometry. Well, let's compare the difference between having parallax occlusion culling on and off. For instance, here we have a little path here on the terrain, which has a lot of stones on it. So currently we have the parallax occlusion system turned off, and even though we have a normal map applied here on the terrain, it still looks a bit boring and flat. It doesn't look really 3D. Now let's activate the parallax occlusion culling. It looks way more interesting. Everything is kind of popping out of the scene. We also improved the shadow map renderings quite a lot.
I'm not impressed by that.
That's Erlengrad, isn't it?
One change there is that we are now able to render the shadows much further away.
I didn't notice the difference between those two.
That actually really
right there.
helps to improve the visual quality and distance. We even see the shadows in the very far distance. For instance, the trees here are dropping shadows everywhere. Let's compare with the previous solution we had in 19.
I say the render circle, right?
There is no shadow in the distance at all. So I think this is really a big improvement regarding the visual quality. Apart from the features I've presented you guys, we also worked on other stuff like the traffic vehicle AI system, pedestrians system, and we also added some new multiplayer feature which hasn't been announced yet. And yeah, I guess that's it. That's all from the engineering team. I wish you guys a lot of fun on FarmCon 21.
New multiplayer
feature.
feature. What's that? I'm there.
Thank you, Thomas. I've been listening to your talk on the tractor, I swear. I'm sure these engine updates will look great. So let's introduce you to another engine.
That was cheesy.
He is one of our US ambassadors. Usually getting up early and still always full of energy.
Very cheesy.
Not sure what he's running on, but here's DJ Goham.
What's going on, everybody? DJ Goham here. Welcome to FarmCon 2021. This year, just like last year, is a little bit different since we're all having to watch from home. Since Farming Simulator 22 is releasing this year, you know this FarmCon's gonna be crazy. I want to give a quick shout out to the Goham fam and all of you guys watching live right now. Farming Simulator is such a community-driven video game, and it is so exciting to have such a wonderful, large community supporting the game. Without you guys, nothing that we do would be possible, so thank you. With all that, back to you guys.
Behind me, you can already see Kenny and Stefan setting up their gear for the next presentation. And I'm really looking forward to this one.
Yeah.
There's no special topic for it, but let's just call it the first look at Farming Simulator 22.
This is an older John Deere tractor, though.
Big features like the seasonal changes.
Look at the mini-map.
Oh my God, we have a mini map.
But there's so many new features in Farming Simulator 22.
I mean, we have a mini map, but that looks way better. Yeah.
Stefan is very good at explaining at the office. Kenny, on the other hand, has to make sure that they all get tested.
Drive neutral.
So I'm so glad that both of them have the time.
Vehicle, like base game now or something?
Okay, this is lame.
What happened? What did you do?
I just plugged that cable in. Did look important to me.
Just because you create doesn't mean that you have to touch everything.
Come down, guys. I got an idea. I got here something.
It does look like a GTA.
Ta-da!
Oh, yes.
Yeah, okay.
I'm so there.
It's nice, but I don't think it's enough, Stefan. Sorry, but but while you're trying to fix the light, let me tell our viewers more about the beacon light. The USB beacon light is included in the Farming Simulator 22 Collector's Edition, available for PC in a lot of countries. It's specially made to work with Farming Simulator, and whenever you switch on the beacon lights in the game, they start glowing. And when you turn them off in the game, they turn off on your desk again.
I'm all about it.
So cool.
I love that it's not like
the
really obnoxious either.
Is very limited, but you can pre-order it now.
No.
As well as other versions of Farming Simulator 22 available digitally and at disc at retail stores.
Tom's going to buy it.
You might also notice that similar to Farming Simulator 17, we will have different tractors on the covers in the various regions around the globe.
I think I got it. Hang on. Helper B got stuck and caused a short circuit.
Okay, I guess I'll leave you two. Watch the rest in the production room. Go fix everything. I'll take that beacon light.
Good old Helper B.
And you guys, enjoy the presentation.
Where can I buy this? Thanks for the follow, appreciate you. I don't think it's up anywhere yet. Oh man.
Alrighty. So, hi, I'm Ken Burgess, the QA lead here at Giant Software, and I'm joined today by Stefan. Stefan, you want to give a little introduction who you are?
Hello everyone, my name is Stefan Maurus. I'm a gameplay programmer and lead vehicle integrator here at Giant Software, and today we are going to show you a bit of live gameplay.
Yes, this is basically the first time ever that we're showing any gameplay from the upcoming Farming Simulator 22. The reason why we brought Stefan onto this presentation as well is because he's done lots of little side features as well in terms of like vehicle integration and just a few the geek features, as we like to call them, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's dig right into it. Stefan, what's the first thing we want to talk about today?
Yeah, so first I want to talk a bit about new ground. So as we already posted on our website, we introduced the parallax occlusion mapping, and this also affects the ground textures of the terrain itself, not only on the field. And you can perfectly see it here on this way to the field. So you see all these little stones are coming a bit out of the ground.
They really like their little
even,
stones,
like
don't they?
once you start moving around, this is when the ground actually
notice this render circle's not there though.
becomes alive and just fully three-dimensional. You can really see the single rocks and bits and pieces. And
I do like that mini map.
Each like ground texture we have in the game.
Yeah. So each of them has their own height map. So yeah. Of course, stones are the highest ones
one of those things
on
that you
the
have
terrain.
to see.
But also the
Probably
grass
doesn't come
and
across
that
on
stuff
Twitch.
is a bit more three-dimensional.
Definitely more vibrant. Brings a new feel to how the game world just feels when walking
Okay, so
walking
it's
around,
August
and
in
also
the game
driving,
right
because
now.
we have the same thing over here on the field as well.
Yeah. You don't really see
They
it
still
here
have that
now
same
because
little pop-up
there's a
about the
straw
field
on the
info.
field, so it's a bit covered. But later on,
that looks
I prepared
good.
a cultivator,
The chop
so
straw.
there
Yeah.
you see it pretty well, and also with plowing, you see it really nice.
So we already see what do we see right now here on the field? That's wheat,
Yeah, that's
because
78.
it doesn't look like
It
the
is
wheat that's at
78.
19.
Nice.
Yeah,
track.
so we updated the textures there and also the 3D models, so it looks way better. Yeah, you can just see it here. And
Still not in
also,
rows, though.
yeah, the stuff
Yeah,
is on the
that?
field,
drill.
and you see it
It looks
also
like it's just been passed on.
that you
Yeah.
don't see the ground that much as in FS19, so it's more
very
more
dense,
covered
Definitely.
surface. So we
And also, I noticed the other day while testing the game. I mean, that's the nice thing. Stefan, he creates things. I break them, basically. But I noticed that while testing with our wind effects and everything we have in game, the new foliage just looks so vibrant. You can even see the little waves and ripples going through it at times. It's really cool.
it's hard to see. Maybe if we enter.
I think some foliages you see it more than others.
But if you have a closer look here, maybe on the TV it's not really visible, but you see really the wind waves. It depends also on the wind intensity.
And also, of course, on your draw
that's
distance
cool.
of the foliage,
exactly.
whatever
That is
you
kind
have.
of cool,
But
yeah.
it looks really nice. Before it was only just waving.
I really like that
every time
lower
the
right
same.
HUD too.
But now it's really dynamic and
Speedometer
really
and stuff.
makes
new
it
speedometer and
more
stuff.
realistic.
Yeah, I mean, side note,
It looks a lot
here,
cleaner.
this
Going across the
also
field, that's
kind
awesome.
of ties in, I believe. I'm not sure if
that's
Jos
great.
already talked about it, but with the seasonal, like the seasonal mode we have in game and the seasons, that's directly
Those got
integrated.
controller
Of
support,
course, we
clearly.
have different
Obviously.
weather types in the
Yeah.
game as well.
Yeah.
The
It's a
wind
console
will
game, come on.
change, the direction will change as well.
Also the direction
Well,
changes.
Steam.
So if now the wind comes from the back and you see it, like this here, but it can also change the direction and
So
you
wind, that's
directly
cool.
see that on
They
the
actually get
fields.
wind.
Yeah.
I'm down.
All right.
So we got here our New Holland
Tornadoes.
combine harvester,
Yes.
CH 7.70. We already showed that on some screenshots. So, like a smaller combine from New Holland.
A good starting combine.
Yeah, exactly. And now we can just start to harvest. I already did some bits.
You did a
of-
little bit of pre-work.
Yeah.
Oh, look at it in the
Doesn't
header.
take too long here. So
Look at it.
That's
jittering too.
that's
but,
new.
you know,
Yeah, I know.
Some of you
Whoa.
might already noticed it.
that
but,
chaff looks way
we
better.
Improved the effects here at the back. So the straw that's coming out of the combine, so it looks more 3D.
Yeah, that's a lot
now.
higher diff.
That's
Before
a
it was
lot
only
better.
a 2D mesh and
Like how you turn
textures
it on and
scrolling
it's
over
stuttering.
it, but
Yeah, I
now
know.
it's really 3D
It's only did
particles
stutter.
that's coming out of the combine.
You can almost smell all of the dust in the air with these particles.
Yeah. And also
But
the dust
the
at the
chopped
back.
straw is looking amazing.
Yeah. And you also have kind of the, also
Doesn't look like a
similar
blurry
improved
blanket,
effects
yeah.
at the front.
Looks a whole lot
Uh,
better.
if you
What's up,
have
chat?
those
Welcome,
little
guys.
Taking effects, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those
we
look a lot.
improved them a
Header
lot.
looks a
so
lot
you
better.
now
Oh
really
my.
see how each
That's a lot
Trailer
different.
is up.
coming into the header and then feed it into the combine harvester.
Nice.
And there we got also different effects for different header types. So
Okay.
like this is just a normal cutter, but you also have draper headers. the ones with the belts. And yeah, you really see that the crops fall onto the belt.
They move
and
differently
then move into the center. So it's individual for all headers.
Nice.
Yeah.
So there's something very specific, though, I know you worked on regarding like headers specifically in the whole harvesting process.
Yeah.
Something that hasn't been part of FS19 so far. Maybe we want to reveal a little
Here we go.
bit
Get ready.
about that.
If you have a close look here, yeah, you barely see it. So the header is not completely straight. It's here a bit down, just a few centimeters. But now we introduced the automatic header tilt and height control. So it's automatically detecting the height of the ground and is adjusting to it, and also tilting the headers so it perfectly matches the ground.
I want to put that to the challenge.
So it doesn't. It does not only have a visual effect. On this field, we barely see it, but some you.
I think
see
once
it
you get
more.
started harvesting on the Alpine map, for example,
we're gonna break this game.
Yeah. But also for mod maps that have some steeper slopes, it also improves the driving, so you don't get stuck on the header and that. So.
And this is the case for every
really
header
trying
in
to
the
test
game?
this
And
right
not
here.
every. The ones that only also got that in real life. So not every header got a tilt control. So the height control is implemented on all headers to improve that. But the tilt is only on that that support that in real life. For example, on older combines, you don't have that in real. So only on the new ones.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right.
That'll
So
be
I mean,
interesting.
we have a little something more planned later on, but for now, after harvesting our grain here, something else we might want to show. You already parked some trailers in the back. Those are also
I like
new.
that American style
So
header
we
cart there.
got now
New
the
brand.
Rudolph.
Rudolph.
German trailer brand.
Red nose trailer.
And we got some really nice trailers from them.
Red frame trailer.
So
There you go.
let's just tip that into that.
Show the deer.
Then I can show you the trailers. So pretty nice ones.
They're the new agro liner.
So we got some more, not only these two. So they're the same. But yeah, they're really nice. And pretty nice new wheels. So that are from Continental.
Show the deer.
Yeah, especially these road wheels are new. So we haven't had them branded
look at
yet.
the bottom right of the screen.
But now we
What's
got
that?
them also branded and not as Lizard.
The wheat and then the
Yeah, they look
17,000.
really nice, and also
It
Oh.
shows you what's in the trailer.
The new.
wow.
yeah,
there,
the
yeah.
profile.
That's cool.
Who owns the
Or
trailer
3D.
and what's in it?
So and we also got
That's interesting.
from
And the tractor.
Continental, the wheels
Wow.
are really nice.
How much
John Deere,
diesel's in it?
but they're also.
That is a
Really nice.
beautiful
Yeah.
tractor.
But this
It
is
is a
also the
78
white
Yeah, 78.
Yeah.
white
But
configuration
yeah,
for the wheels.
you
So
could
it
choose
looks
the weights,
pretty
and
good
if-
on our
if they
John
can,
Deere.
are they American?
So also a new tractor. Yeah, basically everything new. Yeah, older tractor from John Deere was built end of the 90s. And yeah, as a young timer in the game now, we can just enter.
I also see in the front that's a new weight. We have new weights
that's
as
also
well.
new. Yeah, we got some 10 Winkel weights, also a
Winkel.
German brand. And yeah, we got a whole bunch of weights in all.
A series of them, yeah.
Yeah.
It does
the
look
game
better in
now.
19.
Yeah, and they're also
Yeah.
universal for all the tractors. If you hear a bit of the game, I hope you hear it well. You also hear the manual shifting of this tractor. So because this tractor is manual shifted.
Yeah, I think we have not
haven't
talked about
that.
anything of that yet. Yes, we
Yeah.
have gear shifting.
We have gear shifting.
Something that you've worked
go to
on
the gear
for
shifting
quite a
first.
while, I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah, it's a really tricky topic because it's not really easy to do, especially the automatic shifting
Yeah.
of these gears, because if you don't want to shift, some players don't want that to shift manually, you have to automatically shift, like nearly perfect to handle all the different situations of the game, and that's quite tricky.
Yeah, I mean, like with everything, we have the possibility to turn this like manual gear shift setting on or off, however you prefer to play. If you play on automatic, the game does everything for you.
Yeah.
also probably something that's been very hard to implement, I'm guessing, is we have such a range of tractors in the game. And some have so many different subsets of gears, and they don't have the same systems.
So it's not like a car.
Yeah.
On a car, it's pretty easy. You have like 6 gears, 1 reverse gear, and that's it. But on tractors, you like every tractor has a different gearbox. So you have normal gears, then you have groups. Sometimes you have also subgroups that change it a bit. And then
but you
groups.
can even see it in game. We built in this little feature here on the lower right in the corner. You see like what the current like gear shifting system is, what gear it's currently set at. So you can either use that to know when to shift or when not to shift if you're playing with it set to manually, or you also see when playing automatically how the game is shifting gears live in action, basically.
Exactly. So we now see that we are in gear group A, and we are in neutral, so we don't have a gear. And if we accelerate now, we can see that...
we also got to say Stefan is playing on automatic because it would be far too complex to
also
do
on the
this.
controller.
Oh god, do this manually.
So
Getting up the hill and out on the road.
It does sound
so
good.
It's pretty heavy, these 2 trailers.
It does say open AI menu, by the way.
But you can see that's automatically changing the gears.
Kind of
and also, if you have a close look, it's also
animated.
The
character animated
using the levers here.
Oh,
and
he
also
actually
the
uses the
clutch
levers.
pedal.
And pedals.
So and the sound, I don't hear it now.
Yeah.
But it's really nice. So that's one of my favorite features of the new game.
That the sound basically
sounds
adjusts
good.
according to what gear.
And sometimes if you got a heavy trailer, it sounds pretty
There's
awesome.
a mix
when
wagon.
the load is kicking in.
Forge mix
Driving
wagon.
uphill.
Yeah.
I think so.
We got here a farm. I built here some bits. Hope that looks quite nice.
Hope you don't get stuck on our little fence
Yeah,
here.
I hope. But trailers are pretty long.
They're pretty hard to maneuver.
Yeah.
But this is one of our farm silos that you've placed down here.
Exactly. So also a new brand from Unia, so a Polish brand that's producing such silos. So we got some more of them.
Can't wait to put that on my American map.
So we have a different range of them available in game.
Yeah, so you can choose which size you want, and you also can extend it with silo extensions like you already know from the past games.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. No.
So but what we want to show here now is that when
pops up on the bottom now.
Unloading into a silo from your trailer, we also have these nice new sound effects.
You hear the new sounds, so
let's listen.
Yeah, let's listen to that.
There you go.
Whoa.
So you also, if you look at the camera, we don't really have that much in the trailer.
Yeah, it was unloaded pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Don't get to hear the grain.
Yeah, I forgot to unload the full combine. Sorry for that.
Didn't have the time to get all of the field done.
Yeah.
Wait.
We can.
But that's the thing. We want to show you as much as we can.
Yeah.
The combine stopped unloading when he got out of it.
But we can also unload it here to show you the unloading without anything in. And you can also see that we improved the animation here of the hydraulic cylinders. In the past games, this hydraulic cylinders has many subparts that are extending.
These single pistons.
Yeah, exactly. And in the past, we extended them all at the same time.
What kind of animals
now
that back there? Is that cow?
And they extend one after another.
Whoa, who's that?
It's this gradual...
Who's that guy?
Don't mess with him.
Hello, NPC.
Bro.
Hello.
I'm walking here.
Yeah, it's basically this gradual extension of one part.
And if you have a listen to the sound, you also hear when each cylinder is at the end and it's locking into its position.
Amazing.
So you also hear
that looks so good.
That is way more realistic.
Better than the system that it is right now.
So, but we still have one tipper left that is full.
Yeah, that's still full. I mean, the question is what to do
saddle
with
pack
this.
right there?
Yeah, what should we do? Maybe I should get a colleague from me to explain you more what we can do. So, yeah. See you later, and I
see you in a bit.
Send you my colleague over.
All right. He will be back in a few minutes, but joining us now is Marius. Marius, for those watching and at home,
It's me, Mario.
You want to do a quick introduction, who you are, for those that might not know you yet?
Yeah, I'm Marius. I'm a gameplay programmer at Giant Software.
Hi, Marius.
One of the features I worked on for the next game is now our production chains.
Yes, so very exciting. This is the first time ever we're going to be showing you the gameplay right here for production chains.
All right.
Two things before we
I've
jump in,
noticed
though.
they do have the
First of all,
unload and
if you have any questions during the presentation
icons
as a
on your
whole,
grates now,
reminder, after this segment there will be a Q&A with us on Discord, so you can ask all of your questions there.
We'll get you.
And second of all, of course, everything you see here might not be final for the release date, so some things are still a little bit subject to change, and we're constantly working on things. But yeah, let's get started with production chains as a whole. So Stefan and myself, we've already been harvesting some wheat before, and the nice thing is, in previous games you were able to use the wheat just to like basically sell it directly, and now with production chains there's this whole new level of gameplay that's introduced to the game. Maybe you want to tell us a little bit about what can we do now with this wheat and with the new production chain system.
Yeah, here now, for example, we have on our new map, we have a grain mill, and before we would just come here and sell the wheat and we would get money for it directly. But now you have the option to deliver it and get flour produced by the grain mill, which you then can use for other products. So that's the chain element, so you don't just sell your goods, but take one good and produce it to a different product, and then can use that to produce more goods or sell these products.
And that's the nice thing about the production chain system with the maps that we launch with the US map here. We have the possibility either to basically purchase the pre-existing ones, because there are some buildings, production chain buildings, that are basically pre-placed in the map, or of course you can also place them yourselves, where if you purchase some land, for example, just create it, paint it with our landscaping mode as you see fit, maybe place a few trees or fences there and just place your building right there, and you can use that as well. So we see Marius is already unloading some of our freshly harvested grain, and the mill is going to run on itself now. And we also have very nicely our audio guys worked on that. They have their own like idle sound and also like a working sound as well.
So as you can see now in the bottom corner, we have delivered our wheat to our grain mill, and it's now currently producing flour from it. And as you can see in a few seconds, we have produced enough flour to get a product from it. So as you can see now,
there it is.
It produced enough to spawn a pallet, and we can now use this product to bring it, for example, to the bakery, which is a production point as well.
Yeah, so either if you only own the grain mill per se, you can then either sell it directly, because there are like a few other not production chains, but like selling points on the map. I mean, we have, for example, supermarkets and things like that where you can sell the flour. I believe it's a supermarket and a few other
places.
You
have different options where you can sell your products, and depending on where you get the best price, you have to decide
those
where
symbols
you want
look
to place
way
it
better.
or produce it
exactly.
Other goods.
Now this already very exciting. This is our production chain, basically the management menu of the flour mill you're currently at. So maybe you can show us a little bit of what do all these numbers and icons mean?
What is that for?
Yeah, it's still not finalized. We're gonna work on it a bit more. But on the left you have an overview over all your production points. And as we can see here, we have our grain mill, which we're currently at. And we have different productions for flour, mainly because we have different grains which can produce flour.
Oh, it costs to run too.
Right, and you can turn on and off these productions individually. So right now we can turn on the grain again, because as you can see on the right, we have wheat in our storage.
Yeah. So these production chain buildings, they have their own like building storage. So if it's not currently being
I'm gonna make some
like
cake.
used, you can also use them to basically store a little bit in there and prepare stuff. So because maybe we'll see it later with the bakery, there are some products that use different kind of ingredients. So you have to bring in one, and then of course it's not used up but stored, and then you can bring in the other missing ingredients as well.
In this example, in the grain mill, it's very simple. You only have one input and one output. But there are production points which use a lot of different inputs to produce even multiple outputs. And
do you know what the like the one is with the most ingredients?
I think it will be the bakery. So we can see it in a second. And one thing you can do, if you don't want to transport the pellets for yourself, you can simply change the output mode for the product you produce. Right now you can see on the right, it's set to storing, which means it stores the goods produced inside of the production point, and once fill level is reached, a pallet may be spawned, so you can move it yourself. But we can also change it to selling. So now everything which will be produced will be directly sold.
Oh wow. So if you're playing and you're like, I don't have time for this right now, I need to, I don't know, harvest another field or whatever, can't take care of the loading, it's going to do it automatically, basically.
And another option is to distribute it, and that's especially useful if you've got already multiple production points. And then the products will be moved to these production points automatically.
I think I'm gonna have to do the tutorial on this one.
I know.
So instead of selling them, we can just basically tell them to, if I have my bakery over here, so that bring it there and keep going.
A lot to
learn. Basically just store it for the bakery for now without you having to transport all of the
distribution mode.
Of course, it'll cost a bit, so you have an incentive to actually do it yourself. But if you don't want to, you can say just deliver it, and it will be good.
All right.
And now let's see if we can find our bakery.
Our bakery, yeah.
We hop in here
so
again.
Usually you would either use the new distribution method to bring it there directly,
the John Deere
or,
combine.
Of course,
was
then
it? Yep, it was a green head.
Transport the goods, load them onto a wagon,
and
like
transport them to the bakery yourself.
It was totally Deere.
So like shown here, we loaded some of our flour onto a trailer and moved it to our bakery. And
they finally brought old tractors in.
Yeah,
that is check the
beautiful looking tractor.
As well, you can access it via these triggers, or also in the in-game menu, so you don't have to actually walk there to manage it, but just can open the menu.
So if you're there, just walk up to it, directly trigger the menu to pop up.
I think it's a nice touch to have some physical triggers
as well. It's nice
to
have a little bit of interaction with the game world directly.
And it's not just all in a menu. So we are here now, and as you can see, our storage in the bottom right is empty, so we can't produce anything. And now for the part which I mentioned earlier, the bread is also simple. It just takes flour and produces bread.
Where are those coming from?
But the cake is a
well, it looks like you'll have to make
bit of a different level. So as you
can
see, it takes flour, sugar, milk, eggs, butter, and strawberries.
But now
to produce cakes. So if you want to have cakes, you have to really invest. And
I mean, those are like many different ingredients you get from many different sources of
I almost bet strawberries are going to be like a
play the game.
Probably.
But of course,
just
the payback is going to be vastly increased if you set out to sell some cake.
So if you've got a production active and it cannot run because either you don't have the ingredients, like right now, or the output storage is full and you don't have space to place the products anywhere, you get a red indicator here, so you can just quickly check the menu and see if there are any productions that don't run.
So you immediately see where basically your, as the word is, a production chain. It's like a process, and you can immediately spot where's the bottleneck, what's halting me from producing further goods.
As you can see here, our grain mill is still running fine. You have wheat as an input and it outputs products if there's space for it. but our cake cannot be produced because we don't have any of the required inputs.
Yeah, I mean, those are already like a bunch of different ingredients, but with the whole production chain system as a whole, there's like a lot of different new, not fill types, but like these product types that are coming into the game with this new gameplay element being production chains. So as the main developer behind production chains as a whole, what would you say was like the most
this is kind of like V in a way.
The most difficult thing to bring it into the game? Was there anything that you guys stumbled upon, or something that you maybe didn't think about before initially when you worked on the concept?
Yeah, like with adding new stuff, one of the main concerns is always making it work on a larger scale. Like doing the first prototype is always okay, but then you have to think about how will it work in multiplayer?
Yeah.
How will it work if people have 30 or 40 different production points? So we always have to build our features that they scale well.
Yeah.
30 or 40?
That's crazy.
Will work for every player.
And also something probably a lot of you players are wondering, like, how do the production chains come into play in multiplayer? Because in single player, you load up the map and you have the choice of either like placing them yourself or purchasing like a pre-existing production point, like we've seen with the sugar mill or maybe like the bakery. And how does it work in multiplayer with like different farms and stuff?
Yeah, each farm can still have their own production points.
So there can be different bakeries,
yes,
for example.
But if you want to deliver to a different farm, you're gonna sell your goods there.
Okay.
So that's required. So you still have the option to sell your goods at other farms, but also can have your own products. So you're not limited in any ways that you would not have the option to get rid of your produced goods.
So, but what's really nice though then is saying we're playing in multiplayer and I place down a bakery, although I don't even have the equipment for harvesting wheat or whatever, and I don't have a flour mill, I still, by placing down this bakery and investing in it, am offering like another possible selling station to all the other players. And so it opens up different kinds of way these like our farms can interact with each other.
That's kind of cool.
And of course, if you've got your chain going and you see, okay, there's a bottleneck here, maybe you can place a second grain mill, so you got more wheat or flour to use for your bakeries.
Yeah.
So it's a process of micromanagement. You have to see where do I have to invest more, or where's the problems in my system, where can I improve the overall throughput and gain more revenue.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like it's good if it was a good harvest, like a nice harvest. I have lots of wheat, then
I think so.
Partly maybe my flour mill can only handle so much, and you can always sell any excess goods you might have either to other players or of course to other locations in the game world.
With the aspect of the limited storage, you are inclined to use more different stations or store your wheat in your silo.
Okay.
So you cannot just dump like 500,000 liters of wheat at one point, so you have to think a bit more and have to store it and maybe sell it at different stations.
Okay. And of course it also ties in a little bit with our prices system, like the prices management. If there's one player, for example, that sells a lot of wheat, then that price might go down after a while, and you might sit on it if you don't want to get rid of it immediately, wait for a better price. Then of course you have to think about, where am I going to store stuff or am I going to invest maybe in a like bakery to produce bread and keep that price going and stuff like this. So the micromanagement aspect, I think, is something that's going to be very, very cool for players out there, and just in general, even those that maybe focus more on trying to kind of like automate their farm. People that like to play with the AI helper, for example, they can let the AI worker do his or her job, and then just they themselves focus on
after I played like
walking
the tutorial,
around,
do I get like
transporting the goods that come out to the different production chains. I think the management part is might be something that maybe like was missing a little bit before in previous games, and here this is something that really like undermines this.
You have the option to do it, but you're not forced to do it. So
everything, of course.
It adds more without forcing players who don't want to use it to.
It doesn't look flat.
Spend time with it,
Is there any kind of like favorite production point you yourself have, or like not a production point, but maybe like a branch, you know, because there's like these different branches. You have like flour, of course, for the bakery and things. I know, for example, we haven't shown it today, but the mine personally, for example, would be the greenhouses, because greenhouses themselves are also, they're not like they've been in previous farming simulator games where you just place them and get income, but now you can actually use them and they tie into the production chain system. So is there anything in that regard that you would?
Yeah, the greenhouses are pretty cool because we have now the plants which differ based on which you actually grow, and some other production points have some cool animations to them, and we try to make them visually appealing as well. So like here the bakery, where we added some details in the house and around it, so it looks more authentic,
and it kind of fits into like the production chains. All of them, they fit like perfectly into the game world and the design of the maps as a whole. I mean, the nice thing also is the production chains give players a bit of choice, just because for example, this is the actually the European bakery. It has like this European design, but we're playing on the US map. So but we just thought, you know what, this looked nicer, we're just gonna put this here, right on this little cozy area of the game. And that's like the nice thing, I also think, for players everywhere. You always have the choice to just grow your farm, not only the farm, but now with production chains, grow it even further, just as you see fit, basically.
Yeah, for example, if you don't like where the bakery is compared to your grain mill and the distance is too far, you just can say, okay, I'm gonna buy an own bakery and place it nearer to it. So it's easier for me to transport the goods, or if your big wheat field is far away from the grain mill, just place your own grain mill right next to the wheat field.
Optimize.
Just see what you need and customize the world in the way you like.
Yeah. All right, well, I think that's a nice, very finishing touch. So we're going to say goodbye to Marius for now. Thank you for being here with us today and giving us a little insight into the new production chains coming to Farming Simulator 22.
Anytime.
And we will bring Stefan right back and continue with a little bit something more.
Oh.
I know we've kind of seen this, but not.
Holy cow.
Dude.
Whoa. That's
a transformer. Oh my.
Dude.
The slurry texture.
Yeah, buddy.
All in.
Dude, that was a hard cut into like the hype video, but that's a
looks
good hype
more
video.
like a sim now. Yeah, it's gonna take forever to play maps, guys. It really is. I'm okay with it.
And joining us now, of course, again is Stefan. We're going to bring him back because we have a little something more to show you. We teased it in the very beginning, something about how great our new ground textures look. Stefan, let's show the players out there how amazing our new I mean, we have different ground textures now depending on we see a new tool here, and we have, depending on what kind of tool you're using, of course you're going to get different ground types. So maybe we want to talk about that a little bit.
Exactly. So here we got a disc harrow. So you can see it has a lot of small discs that are rotating and are like cutting the ground and mixing it a little bit. So it's a bit different from a normal cultivator. A cultivator works a bit more in depth and really
claw
changes
themselves in
the look of the ground. And yeah, now let's just enter here our case Magnum. It's also a new tractor. We already showed that on some screenshots.
No
it's a brand new
GPS, no.
Magnum series, also with the 400.
That looks good.
Oh, and
That's
you
all
also
new.
see here something we had in FS19
Wait, is that a
with
case
the
cultivator?
with the Platinum add-on,
That's
I
yeah,
believe,
high-speed
are
disc.
crawlers that are now fully
Yeah, exactly.
three-dimensional as well.
Yeah, we introduced that with the class DLC. And yeah, now we got it on basically all of the
I'll turn
vehicles.
that off.
So if you have a close look here and you drive, you see that yeah, it's three-dimensional and
Unpacked,
yeah, it's
thank you.
moving.
3D trick.
Really, really pretty.
Yeah.
But before
Yeah.
we start, you of course need to
That's
attach
beautiful.
Oh, getting banned
yeah,
first.
disc arrow in the
Wait.
I
back.
nearly forgot that.
Wait,
So let's head back
Full
to my
cab
disc
move.
arrow. So also a new disc arrow
Not manual
from,
attach, never mind.
Case. So yeah, it's like the first time we got from Case also some more tools.
Yeah.
Normally we only had tractors and combines and that stuff, but now we got also
I was thinking
some
manual
tools
attach is
here.
about to be announced.
So let's unfold it.
Is that what they call them over there?
There's
Arrows?
also every time I see these machines unfold, especially larger ones, I always have to think of integrators like yourself.
Yeah.
So many different parts to animate to
Yeah,
get these
really.
things just look
Yeah.
beautifully.
Yeah, sometimes it's really difficult, especially if the tools get really wide.
Yeah.
So also for American cultivators.
And when they start unfolding in sections and sections.
So sometimes it's really tricking and taking a lot of time to implement it well.
Yeah.
And to have it as realistic as possible. So now we unfolded it and then we can...
A lot of
Yeah,
ground
sure.
coverage
Now-
though.
Let's see
Go
what all the
right.
fuss is about with these new and nice
Stutter.
crop types.
You see that stutter?
Yeah, so...
Ground types, not crop types, of
Yeah,
course.
That looks
Oh, the ground
amazing.
type. So
Oh
if you
my
cultivate now, we can see that
goodness.
there's also some
Dude.
straw still. So the stubbles of the field are still
Oh
in the ground.
my.
Yeah.
So if you would drive now with a cultivator, it would
The
look
trees in the
different.
background.
Yeah.
Because the
too.
cultivator is more bringing the straw under the ground,
Yeah, it
so you
basically
don't really
digs them
see.
underneath.
Exactly.
Almost.
So
Yeah, so at least a 12
so that's
meter
the first
high-speed
edition here.
disc.
So this is
map
like depending
rotates.
on if you're using disc arrow.
Oh, it does, you're
or a
right.
Cultivator,
It does. When he
or
turns,
a
it
plow,
rotates with
for
it.
Yeah,
example.
right.
It's
Yeah.
always going to be whatever
how
was
they
on
made it
the
round.
field
Just
before.
explode.
It's always going to
Guys,
look
this is
different.
not my farm. This is
Exactly.
FarmCon.
Yeah.
How the ground has been
so
worked.
the plow is also putting everything under the ground, so even more than a cultivator.
Yeah.
But all this stuff has also gameplay effects. We improved the weed system there a bit.
Yeah.
So
That sure looks good.
if you drive with a disc harrow, you got more stubbles there, and this results after that the weeds grow faster.
Oh.
Okay.
So you don't have that much time to get rid of the weeds. So it also has some kind of gameplay effects.
Yeah, I mean the main thinking behind the whole thing was that we want to reward the player for actually taking the time and working the field and like many different cycles and shifts. So if you take better care of your ground this
That's
way,
awesome.
that of course is going to reward
Wow.
you in some way or another
That
within the
is pretty
gameplay
cool.
loop.
Exactly. So if you, for example, you use the disc harrow, you can also drive faster. So and it also has a financial benefit because the disc
Yeah.
harrow is normally a bit cheaper than the cultivator, but you don't have that much time for the weed to control the weeds.
They always got a
afterwards.
balance.
Yeah.
If you got the
so
money.
you have to choose. And yeah, before in FS19 it was all the same. So yeah, that's
pretty neat.
an improvement there. So yeah.
All right.
And you can
I like
also
the
see
interstate right
our
here.
new effects here.
With the
They are
grocery store
similar
across
to
the
the
street.
back of the combine. You can also see the
New particles effect in the
the
back.
dirt that is spreading after the disc. So we improved that as well and added a whole new bunch of ground and soil effects. Okay, so let's jump to another nice vehicle.
Yeah, license
some
plate.
might have already seen this one on a screenshot or two. This is our Xerion, our class Xerion Battle Track.
Yeah, one of my favorites. So.
Yes, I think this is your personal baby. You bringing it into the game from start to finish.
Yes, so yeah, it's in my opinion the best pre-order bonus we ever had. So it's not just a small tractor that is an addition. It's really
Yeah,
a great addition
also
to the game.
for those wondering, so if you pre-order the game digitally anywhere, you will be able to get the class saddle track pack for your game, or you can also buy the game retail, and it's going to be included if you get the disc version in the stores as well.
Exactly.
Oh, tractor saw has a EU
at the back
signs
of the Xerium, we
Yeah,
can
it
also
does.
see
Look at the end of that building up high,
tools
the
from
clear
Havico.
like plastic. That is so
we never had
good
them in the
looking.
game before, so
don't
they're
think
also
so.
new.
Looks amazing.
So we got at the back the slurry distributor.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Oh, look at the cow barn
yeah, the
pop-up.
tank on top. And yeah, as you have seen
Ooh, that's-
probably already on the
nice.
website, we got also the semi-trailed tanker for that.
Mhm,
So
yeah.
if you need to have some more slurry, you can use that. Okay, so but first, before we start to bring out the slurry, I want to have a quick look on the cow shed here.
This is also new.
Yeah, so it's from Rudolf Herrmann.
Yes, it's the
can
first
see
time
it.
actually in game
Oh,
that
they
we
use
ever
them a
have
lot
like
later,
a
too.
branded.
Yeah, they do. They actually look like
animal
real cows.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
Yeah, see-
really a special thing.
Mhm.
Wow.
And they produce really great
Actually run
things
and see
here.
their ears
So
switch.
yeah,
Look at our cows.
look at our cows; they're beautiful, and they're eating there. Also from this side, a pretty nice one, and you can also open here all the gates.
You can have a look inside, of course, as
Yeah.
well.
And
There's also like the feeding area in the front.
yeah, so we improved here also a bit.
Yo,
Those
okay,
two
I like the
stars.
feeding
Want.
style.
I mean,
right there.
they seem much more interactive than they were
Yeah.
before compared
It's
to
not just a
FS19.
trough
So
right
you will
there,
have
you
all
see
these
that?
little elements
Yeah.
around
Yeah,
the
it's a modern,
husbandries. You have opening sheds and doors, basically,
Inside,
and stuff like
looks like.
this. And of course, you're already parked near the slurry trigger right now.
Yeah. So that's an underground slurry tank here,
Mhm.
and you fill it then from the top. And yeah, we got a bunch of little elements there on the placeables. Especially one nice thing is the lighting inside some sheds we
Oh,
have.
lighting.
So it
The
looks
new lighting system of the
Yeah.
whole, like the interior
Yeah,
design of
exactly.
it. So
Yeah.
if it's night, you'll see those lights coming on.
Yeah, and you can also toggle them manually, so you can
Yeah.
just walk to the light
That's
switch
good.
and turn it on.
I like
if
having
you need
lighting.
it. So let's drive to the
You said
field.
lightning, and I got excited.
Yeah, I
And
was like,
mean,
lightning,
part of
yeah.
this of
Like,
the
bro, we're about to get struck
pre-order
by
bonus,
lightning
like the
working in a
whole
field.
saddle
Four-wheel
track
steer,
pack.
I
Maybe
like
just to
that.
summarize again, it's going to be the saddle track
Like
itself, of
Yeah.
course, and you have one of the Kavico tanks already with a slurry distributor, and you mentioned
Erlen
before,
Grat will
the
be
other
on
one
22
was
launch day, brother.
the other tank.
Yeah, the
Yeah, they're
semi
two,
trade
probably
tank.
not.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Don't
yeah,
have to mod it,
more
convert it.
for the bigger
Yeah.
farms.
Mhm.
Yeah, this one
Most
got
likely.
16 cubic meters.
Yeah, exactly.
And the bigger one got a bit more. I don't know
If
the
you have-
exact number, but
if you have a few more cows and a few bigger
Yeah,
fields to
exactly.
take care of,
Yeah.
maybe
it's
that might
also-
be the way to go.
and it's also good to mount a bigger distributor.
Yeah.
So yeah. And
But now, of course, new slurry distributor also means that the ground is going to change again once we get started. So we see Stefan
Exactly.
already unfolding this.
so,
So if you want to fertilize your fields to increase your yield, you can do that.
yeah. So
Whoa.
you can see it here. Yeah, it's
I like the
Ma-
tire
yeah,
tracks.
maybe like the pre-texture before isn't the best to show it on,
Yeah,
but you
yeah.
do see it very slightly.
yeah, it's a little bit darker.
the-
And yeah, now if you
Yeah, 'cause
wetter
it kinda looks like
basically,
they're
yeah,
actually
also
compressed.
the
see the
slurry.
border.
Mhm.
Yeah. One nice thing, also the here this
it
front
looks like
arm.
Yeah, I
Whenever
was
you
about
stop
to
at
ask, what's that in the
Explorer
Yeah.
front?
Converter actually
So
stops,
in
keeps
real life,
on
that is
spreading.
used to get the slurry into the tank.
Mhm.
So normally you have one tractor with a slurry with a tanker
Yeah.
that is bringing the slurry to the field, and with that one you get the slurry into this one and then distribute it on the field. And yeah, you can also unfold that and move it. Also.
That'll be up
Do
to the
that as
modders to
well.
make those maps for 22.
Um,
I'm sure they will.
There you
you
go.
can see it unfolding.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
And then
There's
you
a
can
snorkel.
manually control that.
Yeah.
All right.
Exactly.
And I mean, something we
Wonderful will be able
have
to
one more
actually use
thing
that
we
function.
want
That
to
means
show you guys.
I'm hoping we actually have to.
When taking care of your field, when fertilizing them, when
Yeah,
using
19, I mean,
like slurry
that's just there right now,
distributors or
but
also
kinda
like
can't use that
fertilizer
function.
sprayers, for example, we've in the past we've had like fertilizer levels.
Yeah.
We had like in FS19 we had a 2, and we still have these in FS22, but now there's something new that we're bringing to the game for the first time ever.
Yeah, so it's a pretty nice feature if you got a lot of slurry and want to get rid of it. And yeah,
And you don't have much time.
exactly. So normally you have
No
to
till.
Because you need
fertilize.
to get the take your disc harrow out before the weeds come in.
Yeah. So normally you have 2 fertilizer states. So you need to bring out the fertilizer twice.
Yeah.
But if you got a lot of slurry, you can toggle this feature here. You see it on the top.
Yeah, there it is.
Activate double application rate.
Oh wow.
So if you activate that,
Oh boy.
it will bring out the doubled amount of slurry.
And it's gonna count basically
Oh,
as
sick.
Yeah.
How fast that number was going.
fertilizer
Exactly,
layers
so-
at once.
Yeah, you drive a bit slower because that it brings out the same the doubled amount. So you drive half of the speed,
Yeah.
but then you get the doubled spray.
Oh,
like that.
that's
So
awesome.
with all
I
these
like it.
little like geek features, as we like to call them, coming into play, I
This
want to know
tracks
from
look
you
a lot
what's
more aggressive
the
when he backed up
like
too. You
main
see that?
inspiration behind
I
all
got
of these. Is it something
double
like
up.
when you're playing where you're saying, "Oh, this might be nice to have"? Like, what's that spark that gives you the inspiration behind putting something like this into the game?
Yeah, Sean.
Yeah, sometimes it's based on user feedback,
Yeah.
but also a lot of times some of the colleagues come to me and say, "Hey, this would be great." And then we just implement it. So
Okay.
and sometimes
I can see that
also
being useful,
I think of
especially, like, if you have a
hey,
seeder
this would be cool if
that
you
can't
improve that a
fertilize.
bit.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's just little things that
Yeah.
improve it really well. So
Especially then maybe since it's already like
That's
there
gonna
in real
do
life,
with,
maybe
precision.
there's a way to bring it
yeah,
into the
Yeah.
game. I think for me personally, the whole new like gear system, the gear shifting system, is a perfect example of why didn't we have it in before? I mean,
Yeah,
it's of
yeah.
course it makes sense, you know, like
Yeah.
you have it in when driving a car as well. But it always has to be optional as well, of course,
Yeah.
for those players that like it's a nice to have, but
Yeah.
and some might just like dabble around with it for a couple of game time hours, but then maybe switch back. But it's always like the nice balance between bringing in something new that makes it more realistic, of course, but also having that in as an optional feature, basically.
Yeah. And also it has to be implemented well so that
Yeah,
it works
that's the
fine.
thing. Mhm.
So we also could have brought the gear shifting earlier, but if it does not work perfectly, it's also bad.
Yeah.
So
That's what
So-
I'm here for.
yeah,
Breaking the stuff, making sure it works, hopefully.
correctly.
I want his job.
All right. Well, I
break
think
stuff guy.
with that, hopefully we were able to give you a little bit, just a tiny glimpse of what's to come in FS22. And if there's nothing else, Stefan, thank you for showing us what you've been working on.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And yeah, we can't wait to show you more. But for now, back to Martin.
Thank
That was
you,
awesome.
Stefan, Marius, and Kenny, for this first look at some of the gameplay features of Farming Simulator 22. Bear in mind that there are smaller and larger features being added to the game. We will reveal more in the coming month until launch. And of course, our popular fact sheets will also be released again. It's time for our next ambassador, and this one is just full of
Shameless
energy.
plug, here we go.
He is energy. Energy Sang from France.
Bonjour à tous, c'est Marlon ou Energy5, un youtubeur français sur Farming Simulator.
Okay,
et
I like
je
that
vais
he's in
remercier
the
déjà
track.
Giants de me permettre de faire
Saying.
passer un petit message à la communauté française francophone.
And it looks
Déjà,
like
merci à
Giants
tous,
made that
cette année a
tractor
été
too.
juste incroyable, on s'éclate tellement sur le jeu, je pense que je me suis jamais autant amusé sur un Farming
I
Simulator.
know, you
Les
never
modeurs
know.
font un travail formidable et je pense que c'est grâce à eux
So
qu'on
far,
s'amuse
I'm
autant,
loving
c'est
what I'm
juste
seeing, by the
fou.
way.
On n'a
I
jamais
don't know
eu
about you guys.
autant de modes français
Yeah, it looks
d'ailleurs, ni
good.
autant
I
de
think
maps,
it's
autant de modes
fantastic.
français. Donc voilà, merci à tous.
The only thing
merci
I
d'avoir
didn't see yet
écouté
was a
tous les
beacon
joueurs.
turned on in the game.
Vraiment comme des oufs.
I want to see what they look like, you know?
Les futures annonces qui
I'm a
vont
big
nous
beaky
permettre,
guy,
je pense, de
so.
continuer de nous amuser comme ça.
Didn't they show
Allez,
that
merci
at
encore
the
à Giants
beginning?
et à bientôt.
Did they?
What we'd love to
Yeah,
do
they did,
now is
right.
talk to you.
Like
Listen
right
to
at
your
the
feedback
beginning.
and answer your
Plugged
questions.
in the
Join the
board.
official
that's
Farming
right.
Simulator Discord server now, where we will
But
be
it wasn't
available
very long.
during
They didn't like
and
go into
after the
detail
show.
on them.
Yeah.
Some of us will stick around there for a while and are eager to hear from you. For tomorrow's FarmCon, we are also planning to answer some questions you might have in person. How do we do that? We have set up a simple form, much like a letterbox, where you can drop your questions about anything Farming Simulator related. FS22, modding, brands, it's up to you. Of course, we will not be able to answer all of them, but we will do our best to go through them and select the ones that seem to really interest many of you. We have also gathered some questions throughout the last few weeks with the help from our official Farming Simulator ambassadors. They have been asking around all over the globe in many languages and sent us their feedback. Lars and Kenny, I heard you have the answers.
Hello everyone and welcome to the first FarmCon Q&A with Lars Malczarek, Lizarton, the community manager, and with me is Kenneth, our QA lead.
Hello.
Hello. Nice to be here. Nice to be with you.
Same.
Awesome. FarmCon Day 2.
He's a stream
We've seen
deck.
some amazing things.
that?
And we'll see even more down the road.
I'm so happy to... well, let's not
That's
talk
awesome.
about Day 3 now. Let's make that
That's
a little
mini.
bit later. Let's talk about questions. So what happened here? Our ambassadors, you might know
That's
that we have a couple of ambassadors
first
out there.
version of
Yeah,
the
like
15.
the one I have
collecting
sitting right here
questions
next to me.
over the last 2 to 3 weeks, I'd say, regarding Farming Simulator 22, regarding Giants, regarding
awesome.
whatever the hell came to your mind. And we will answer a couple of these questions. We can't answer all of them, obviously.
So many questions.
There were like insane amount of questions. We picked a couple. There were a lot of duplicate questions that we won't cover like 10 times. We will just answer it once. And we will go through all these questions. Some of them will be answered
I've never
by
watched
Kenny,
FarmCon
that's why
on
he's
stream.
here. Some of them will be answered
We'll
by
talk
me,
about
and some of them will be
that
answered
when we're
by
done
our
here.
professionals. And
bit.
we're going to see how that looks. That's why we have a nice little screen
we have a
behind us.
few.
Dude, I just learned so
special
much
guests.
about production
We have
chains.
a few special guests.
I kind of need to go take a
so,
nap.
do we want to start?
Yeah, my
Yeah,
brain
we've got a
hurts.
bunch of questions.
Yeah, we
Let's
have a bunch
get
of
started
questions.
with them.
We actually printed them because there are so many. So we're going to read the questions and we'll see what comes
Yes,
out of it. I'm
question
going to start
mark.
with the first one because the first one is definitely for you.
Okay.
It's from Easton in the USA. Since you are self-publishing the next farming simulator, will testing mods be as strict as the new game, as in the new game, as they have been in the past?
Well, yes, we're self-publishing for the first time ever. To be honest, that doesn't really have an effect on how we test mods. So it's basically going to
test
be
mods?
the
Question mark?
same. We have, as always, our guidelines, which everybody knows. And we've
Big
been
L.
hearing lots and lots of feedback from the community on all of our different social channels, on the Discord channel. And we're definitely planning to take another look at the guidelines and improve them for the launch of the FS22 mod hub, and then we'll see where it goes on from there.
Yeah.
But there will definitely be a few changes, but all in all, just because we're self-publishing, that's not a real big impact.
No, there's no relation between these
Yeah.
two things, right? Self-publishing basically means that we are going to sell our game ourselves. So if you see it on the shelf somewhere, if you see it in a digital store somewhere,
Yeah.
it's us bringing it there. Doesn't matter for the QA team because it hasn't changed your work at all, has it?
No, not really. I mean, I've definitely talked to the... we're always in close collaboration with all the different departments, and I've checked with the mod hub team, and we're definitely going to be looking at the guidelines, maybe see what we can mix up a bit for FS22. But yeah, I'm eager to see how it's all going to turn out once the game launches, and
Oh, yes.
we can't wait to see the creations the community always comes up with.
I've already seen some people having ideas
a few
for Farming
work in
Simulator
progress
22.
things.
Yeah,
All right.
and some of them will be exciting.
Okay, so the next one, Lars, this is something maybe you can answer. It's from Ash from the USA. She asks, as a female who plays Farming Simulator, she was wondering if there will be more customization options to make the game feel more welcoming to non-males, so to speak, like clothes, hair types, hair colors, shape of face, and the usual.
Yeah, so good news is that we changed a lot when it comes to character creation. I think we started with Farming Simulator 19. We made a lot of changes to character creation already back then. Still not enough. So
it's never enough.
It's never enough. So in Farming Simulator 22, the character creation will be improved. That's a nice little word, marketing word. It is better. So we have way more diversity, way more choices you can make with your character. I'm quite sure you will love it. Of course, there's always this, oh, it could be more. It's still not Photoshop though. You can't just Photoshop your own character. But we have a new character creation, and I'm sure you guys will love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's good.
Okay, next one for you from Chris in the United States. Will there be a better store search engine in Farming Simulator 22? Also a better category system for mods? That one is mean.
Well, it's actually two things we can answer here. So there will be a better sorting system, both in the store itself and also in the in-game mod hub. And we have thing. I don't think we've talked about it that much. We have this thing called basically you can call them startup packs. So when you're fresh in a fresh save game, starting out freshly, and you're not quite sure in what direction to go, these packs basically help you and give you a certain selection of vehicles and tools that will help you.
Do you have an example for one of the starter packs?
Well, for example, if you want to do the usual arable farming, you're going to be able to get a normal small cultivator, a seeder, harvester, and so on. And I think we also have some for animals. I don't want to get in too specifically because they, of course, are still work in progress. But there's definitely going to be that option.
So there might be some potato harvesting where you get everything that you need for potato harvesting.
Yeah, that's the main idea
exactly what you need.
That's really going to help new players a lot.
Good for new players. People come in
I know
veterans
out there. You guys are like, yeah, I know what to take. Well, there are new players.
I like that a lot.
It's definitely something that's going to help a little bit with the onboarding.
Not something I'm probably going to use, but new players.
It's a sandbox game. It's so vast in terms of
it could be helpful for
how do you evolve.
Too.
Are you going to do arable farming? Do you want to specialize in forestry? Do you want to just take care of cows or horses, stuff like this? So there's many different directions you can go, and these packs are going to help you along the way.
Absolutely.
Next one for you, Lars. Will seasons be an option to turn on and off, basically like we have already with plowing and weeds? So is it going to be optional? And how will it affect maps from modders? This is something Jelsa Farmer from Norway wanted to ask.
Norway, nice. So, yes, it will be turnable, turnable. What's the English term? You can turn it on and off.
Basically,
optional,
yes.
Nice, thank you. I'm not native, he is. Anyway. Yes, you can turn it on and off. I think I've said it before on various community channels. If we make the game more complex, there usually is a way to still play it in an easy way if you want to. Seasonal changes, all these things, seasonal cycles, is a very complicated topic. It changes the way you play the game a lot. So yes, there will be an option to turn it off. And from what I gathered from our guys who know a lot about mods and mod creation, it will be easy to use on mod maps as well.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I heard. You are the mod expert.
But, I checked that as well. So it's basically modders will be able to also include this new seasonal features into their maps, similar as they're using it now with FS19 and the season mods. This is going to be directly in the game. They can basically change weather patterns, stuff like this.
Yeah, we shouldn't forget that we have an expert from the old season mods with us. Jos is out there. And he knows a lot about seasons because he's one of the creators of the original Farming Simulator 17 mod.
The OG.
He is the OG. So the next one. Can we expect to see any big expansions in Farming Simulator 22 like we've seen with lodging in Farming Simulator 15? This one is from Westin in the United States, and that one is obviously not for you and for me. That one is for publishing, and that's why we're gonna leave this to Boris.
What comes to mind first is production chains. This means, for example, that we can process the harvested wheat to make bread and sell that to a pizzeria. I think that's a humongous expansion.
There we go. Oh, that one is nice. Super easy one for you. Are we going to be able to customize number plates? from Blazer in Croatia.
Hell yes, of course.
What?
Hell yes.
Hell
Yeah,
yes.
you're gonna be able to use different symbols and characters
Make your own
and
license plate.
just design it to your heart's content, basically.
There is a profanity filter.
Oh.
There is, yes. That was something
Profanity
which
filter.
we had to keep in
We need
mind,
Puma
of
Plow
course,
plates.
because this, as with all things that can input text, you always have to make sure what kind of text is going to be displayed. So,
For those of you who wonder that we are reading the questions, yes, we do have bullet points for the answers as well. We pre-recorded the show.
Yeah.
I think this is not a secret. That's why we do have answers from our friends out there. So don't be confused if we always look at our nice little list. But, you know, we want to make sure that we cover all the questions. And of course, we had to find answers if we both didn't have them.
yeah. And I mean, it's always good to get a specialist into the game.
Absolutely.
Who
And we
can
have
answer
a couple
these.
more specialists later.
Definitely. So, Lars, something Yannick from Germany wants to know. Will Lizard be in FS22?
I love that. It's an easy one. Yeah. So Lizard is there. Lizard is our home brand. Let's phrase it that way. It's the brand we made up.
The
back in the
self-made.
days. Yeah, the
big
self-made,
brand,
not
basically.
really existing brand. We use it whenever we want to have something in the game that doesn't really fit into anything we have.
Yeah,
right?
it's oftentimes used, as I understood it from its inception.
Default.
It's basically whenever something is missing, like a particular tool or like a particular size that we don't have a brand or a tool to use in game, that's when we basically come up with the self-made solution.
Exactly.
So we still want to give the players that big range of possibility.
Because sometimes, because it is a game, sometimes there are possibilities that you don't need in real
Yeah.
life. Like I remember when we had the terraforming for the first time, there was the lizard options to create roads and stuff. You know, the Walze. What's the English word for that thing?
Roller.
The roller
I'm
we had
Lancer.
in the game.
Exactly. So these are the things that obviously don't exist in real life. So we use lizard for that. Will the Tobii Eye Tracker 5 continue to be supported in Farming Simulator 22 as it was in 15, 17, and 19?
Rollers don't
David from
exist in real
UK.
life?
Yep,
Okay.
just like with FS19, you can simply hook up your eye tracker, use that, and just like it was in 19, it's gonna work, and you can play wherever you look. The camera will turn. It's gonna track your head a little bit.
Have you ever
and-
tried? Well, you have.
Yes,
your QA.
well, of course.
Yeah, you have QA.
Have I ever tried it
that
myself?
That was a bad question.
Yeah,
I agree.
I mean, I don't play with it regularly because I don't know. I'm just not the guy to use it like day in, day out, because I think I often, due to working, have to look on another monitor, and then every time the screen would basically jump to the side. But every time you do hook it up and then play with it, it's like a whole new, this is pretty damn cool.
It is really
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I tried it once because I was like, I'm not, you know, I'm a traditional gamer. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh,
How does this even
This
work?
is not useful for me. Tried it once. It is a complete different experience. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
So that is really cool. I'm gonna go with that one as well because it is one of our Boris questions again.
Oh.
It is: do you plan to continue to publish after Farming Simulator 22 without help, or find another publisher again? It's from Ted in the United States, and let's see what Boris thinks.
Funny question, but no. We started self-publishing with the intent to keep self-publishing and to keep up with our fans' wants and needs as closely as possible, and to learn what our fans wish even more directly and accurately than
I
before.
don't think Ted plays Farm Sim.
No.
Yeah, you can tell he was.
Not at all.
The question was like, yeah, of course, he's not only here for one game, because otherwise we would have to lay them all off.
Yeah.
Like we are
Bye,
done publishing.
Boris.
Bye, Boris. Has been nice 2 years. No, of course, this is here to stay.
Yeah.
Self-publishing
His
is a
stream
thing
next
now
It's
for
a
us.
huge step,
show
but
Boris.
it's something
Yeah.
which is exciting as well.
We shouldn't forget that, and I'm sure Boris can tell you more about publishing than we both
Yeah.
could. But publishing is more than just having someone here who just does it. You
Yeah.
know, we have built a whole infrastructure for that. We
Exactly.
have created new partnerships with
the
retailers
whole
all around the world.
distribution network.
Everything. Doing that for just one game would be hilarious, but really foolish. Like that
Yeah,
wouldn't be a
that's
good
true.
idea at all. We shouldn't.
DPS.
Yeah, we have another one. You can answer this one, I guess. From Gavin from the USA. Will the landscaping tool be in
Ooh.
FS22?
It will
Yay.
be. Yes, it will be, and it is even better than it used to be.
Better.
And if you are not convinced that I am right, I think we're gonna have a landscaping tool presentation tomorrow.
Yeah, there will be something called the build mode.
The build
and we're gonna show you a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So tune in tomorrow on FarmCon Day 3, and you're gonna see for yourself that landscaping is there.
Do I get a hammer and nails?
Used to be.
Nail gun.
The next one is the last one for Boris, from what I understand. This is what has been the biggest challenge and the biggest advantage of self-publishing?
Basically gets
That's from
great.
Chris and Edmund. It's a good one.
That's a really good one.
Let's
Another
see
Boris
what
question.
Mr. Boris has to say.
First, the biggest challenge. I think finding worldwide distribution partners in the shortest amount of time and being accepted as a full publishing partner by the various
all these
platform
self-publishing
holders
questions are
like
coming
Sony,
from the company.
Microsoft, Nintendo, Valve, Epic, etc.
He just touched Matt's art. Yep.
Biggest advantage? For sure that we're directly in the markets in all regions and can react to our fans' needs and desires.
You know what I like about this? You can tell that we recorded it with a phone, right? Because it's a little bit shaking and stuff. And we just went into his office. I'm not even kidding. We went into his office with the questions.
It's like quick fire questions.
Used the
Give me
phones,
the answers.
And we're like, give us something about that. And you can see his laptop in the background. And I'm so happy it's not something confidential on there. Because I just realized it's just the box. So he seems to have worked on something with the box when we came in, because that would be hilarious. We just film everything and then we just check it and we're like, we have to delete everything. So if you are never seeing this, there was something. But then you won't even notice. Yeah, or that. Or just like one of these, these incognito.
Yeah, exactly.
Bars.
Who is this?
That would be good.
They're cracking themselves up.
Will consoles be able to turn on hazard lights in Farming Simulator 22? It's from London in the United States.
Oh man, this question.
God, I see it like 5 times every day.
Yes, this has been going on forever. It's also something as a big, I play on consoles as well in my private life, and I love the fact always that these kind of features are there, and I always, is there something we can do? Can we bring it there? There's no final answer yet as of now. We're working on it.
Yep, that means no, exactly.
And we do know that many players out there that's something that many console players really want to have on their consoles. We are working on it, and if all goes well, I hope then we might be able to have them on the newer console generation versions. Because the reason for that, we've said it in the past, and I'll say it here again, is always performance.
Yeah.
And but with the newer consoles generations out there, that's definitely something that might be possible.
Gotta buy a new console that have hazard lights.
We shouldn't forget that PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, that's very old hardware.
They are pretty old by now,
It is
they have a
really
good
old
age.
They do have a good age. So some things just don't work. I remember just in the podcast last week, we spoke about the occlusion, the parallax occlusion. It's the same thing. It might run on everything. It might only run on powerful consoles. It might not run on consoles at all. We're gonna see, because we are still optimizing the game.
Yeah,
they're still not
sure
sure about
hazard lights.
You have to develop a game, then you have to optimize a game, and sometimes it's happening at the same time. It's very busy for us.
So there are just some questions where, at this point in time, we have to say we don't know yet, because it all, in this case, it all depends on performance and how good it will perform on console. Because there is no point in having hazard lights, but the game doesn't run anymore.
Exactly.
Right? So, fingers crossed, it might
Definitely.
come, but
Thank goodness
we
we're on
don't
PC.
know.
Another one for you, Lars. In the trailer that we've shown, the CGI trailer, it shows that there's a snowplow on a tractor. So the question was, will there be something like contracts for snowplowing parking lots or driveways to earn money during the winter seasons in game? Something Jackson from the USA wants to know.
So first of all, let me say that a CGI trailer is exactly that. This is
This cannot be stressed enough.
I feel like I've said that like a million times over the last 3 weeks. It is a CGI trailer. A lot of things that are in there are just in there to tell a story, right? Especially with that trailer, because we are actually telling a story. There's a lot of storytelling elements. However, for the missions, the answer is definitely maybe, because we are still working on the missions. The mission system is not finished yet.
Maybe
we can't.
That's the answer
say
to every question.
Yeah or
we
no,
don't know.
because
Maybe
it's just not done.
At least they're being honest.
Missions are still in development, and as of now, we don't have an answer. We might have a definite answer, or we will have, of course, a definite answer further down the line, but this is definitely not FarmCon.
Yeah, these are things that get more definite the closer we are to release.
Good, that one is nice. Will animal models, textures, etc. finally be available for modders as the resource to make our own animals or different breeds? From Bavarian Redneck.
That's an amazing username.
It's a nice username. That one is neither for you, but not for me either.
Nope.
We need one of our developers, and we're gonna have Mr. Maurus here.
So the animal models will still be protected. Yeah, it's because they're really complex, also with all the animations and that stuff, and LODs and all that stuff makes it really complex to mod these animals. So they will still be protected, but maybe we can look in the future to have modding support for the animals.
The no custom animals. There you go.
I just realized that the first thing I do now all the time is checking the laptops. Didn't
If there's anything in the background.
It's fine. Okay, it's fine. Nice. Maurus, well, over the course of FarmCon, you're going to see this guy very often.
Yeah.
We've just seen him in the gameplay
Sounds like you need a lot of
we showed
earlier
a few
today.
that sound padding.
For FS22.
If you have missed that one, this is probably one of the best
And
things
he's
to
also
check
like
out. Like if
his
you tune
office,
in
not
now,
like recording.
if you want to see
Simulator-
something from FS22,
Farming Simulator 22 gameplay demonstration we just had, well, a few minutes ago. Definitely check it out. It's worth it. Okay. Well, that one is easy, I guess. Can we harvest grapes by hand, or will we need the expensive machinery? I'm thinking about smaller farms from Cheese, which is a great name as well, in the UK.
we know, especially also here in Germany, often vineyards and similar like grapevines, they are often harvested by hand. But I mean, we're a farming simulator game. It's about machinery, of course, so this is why we also focused on that part specifically for FS22. So there won't be any like manual hand-picking grapes or olives in the game, but there will be some really cool machines you can use for that.
And who knows, there might be very interesting mods.
Oh yes,
down the
definitely.
line that might bring these things in.
Everything's possible further down the line. All right, let's see. This is another good one regarding as we had before, the seasons mode in game. How long will a full in-game year be, basically? This is something Quarters wants to know.
I'm actually happy that, you know, that's one of the questions where I'm thankful that we had time to find the answer, because I had no idea. It's 12 days, 12 in-game days, I learned that. How long an in-game day is? Well, that really depends on how fast you play the game.
Yeah,
right?
We do have our different speed settings.
Exactly.
That
I think it's 12 hours on the slowest version per day.
Wow.
Or is it?
I'm not even 24. Sure on that one. I mean, we do have the difference. You can 24. Play it real time, of course.
Yeah, right. If you play in real time, it's even 24 hours per day, obviously.
Then you can do double and more than that.
And I think the fastest you can come up with, and I have to check, is 2.5 hours or something on highest speed.
Yeah, I think it's 120 times as fast. That's the max setting we have in game.
Yeah, okay.
Unless you know what to do. Then it's way faster.
You know what to do.
Exactly.
That's it.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
Again, we are covering a couple of easy ones now. Will there be forestry-related production chains?
Definitely. I mean, this is something we also, if you haven't seen the gameplay demonstration, our good friend Marius and myself, we showed a little bit about the production chains. Forestry in particular, being one of the, let's say, branches of our game, of course, needed their own kind of production chain elements as well. So we have the usual sawmill, which you have in the game. Mostly like in FS19, it was a pre-placed area on the map. We basically changed that up to work as one of these factories, and you'll be able to produce boards, like wooden boards and things like that, basically. And there's a carpenter in the game. So these are like two elements that tie in more in this production chain branch of the game that you can use then.
Kind of sounds like this.
Yes.
More and more turning into PV.
There's another one. This is very good. It's from Lucas from Germany. Is the farming simulator community hard to handle? And a little smiley face.
Yeah, well, we need a smiley face. Is it hard to handle? I'd say at times. At times, any community is hard to handle, obviously. But most of the time, it's not. I mean, being the community manager for 4 years now, I worked on different games before. I won't go into much detail, but the communities there were harder to handle, not gonna lie. Most of them were.
I'm guessing it also depends like on what kind of game it is.
Absolutely does. So this is the main point. The Farming Simulator community, it's not a competitive game.
Yeah.
And in competitive games, the community tends to be more toxic because you want to beat your opponent, and it's not a guy you play with; it's a guy you play against.
I mean, I've seen some multiplayer games and servers out there where players do kind of try and play competitive farms, but still,
there are some. And
it's
there is
not
the
that
FSL.
hardcore.
There is the FSL if you really want to go competitive. However, it is not I play against Kenny. I play with Kenny, even if we are competing for anything, right? Like race for, I don't know, first million, whatever. So that makes the community a little bit more relaxed. We also have a lot of adults. I'd say the range of 30 plus in age is quite high in Farming Simulator. Same for very young guys. And they are super nice. Like most of the time, if you get someone who's super nice, they're usually like 10, 11, 12 years old.
Yeah.
Super friendly people. So the community is not too hard to handle.
And they do work great together as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. The only thing that gets a little bit more complicated over time, and that's the same for any community in the world, is basically because of social media, the community is super spread out.
Yeah.
Right? Back in the days, 10, 15 years ago, there was probably 1 or 2 forums, for example, that you had to keep an eye on, and then you were done. This time we have almost 90,000 people on Discord, and you might want to join Discord, by the way, for our FarmCon discussions.
Discord.
We have Twitter, we have Facebook, we have Twitch, we have YouTube. We still have the forums. There are like myriads of Facebook groups with thousands and thousands of people. So the community is not even a thing anymore. It's like a million tiny communities that we try to stitch together to a big community.
And that's a challenge for itself.
It is, and that's why we already have 3 people now. Back in the days, it was just me. And it was enough.
Now there's a community team.
4 years later, it's a 3-guy team covering 2 time zones, with Terminator being in the United States, so that we can cover as much as possible. So it is an easy to handle community, as in there are a lot of nice guys out there, but of course there are challenges, right? If we do something that you guys don't like, you will be very, very vocal about it. And then of course there are different opinions, and it's difficult at times. But in general, I'd say it's the best community I work with.
And it's really always a hard thing to try and please everybody. You can't.
You absolutely can't.
I try, but it's always...
I usually use an example like, let's say Seasons, for example.
Yeah.
You know, Seasons was a mod that millions of people downloaded, but a lot of people didn't like it either. So they deinstalled it. So if you do something like create a mod like that, there will be people who go like, oh, this was important, thank you. And some people that go like, turn around and go like, why do we need this?
Where's the off button?
Why didn't you develop something useful instead?
Yeah.
Because, you know, some people like things, some people dislike. So you can't please everyone, but we try our best to please as many people as possible. And we need your feedback for that, of course. Feel free to just shout on us on Twitter, Facebook, what I said, anywhere. We are there, we are listening, and we totally gather the feedback.
Yeah.
Because we need it. Do that. I'm honest. How does your research team go about... I need my glasses. Collating? Oh,
collecting.
That might be collecting. Yeah, that's where, you know, I'm still not
pre-recorded, right?
What is that for? What did I miss here? How does your research team go about collecting all the information about what you decide happens in the next game? How is this then filtered through the development team as a final decision before creating what people want? That is
a real deep question.
And we have to go very high to get the answer from that. We went to Stefan Geiger, one of our founders, and see what he has to say.
Finding the right features for a new game is definitely not an easy task. I mean, what we usually do is by the end of the production of the previous game, or at the start during the patching phase, we kind of scan the forums, the Facebook, Twitter, etc., and also like YouTube videos for ideas and feature requests of people, and kind of get an idea of what could make sense to add to the game. And of course, we also have a huge list of our own ideas that we would want to add. And we basically just combine all of that stuff, try to find kind of groups of features, and then kind of make a decision based on that, what features could make sense to kind of combine, because sometimes a feature by itself doesn't make much sense, and it kind of requires a lot of other features as well. So we take those kind of groups and then really decide which of those we kind of want to put as the main features of the next game. And then from there we go and refine it and add more and more details to the plan. And also other features are also driven by contracts. So sometimes, of course, when we decide we want to add a feature, we specifically go towards manufacturers and try to acquire those brands we need for those new features. But sometimes it's also like long-term negotiations that were going on, and then based on the results of those, it can also trigger the addition of new features or new machines, etc. And of course, a lot of stuff changes as well during the development. So when we add small things, we suddenly realize, okay, well, that other feature would be nice as well to fit well with what we added, and then we add those as well if we think it makes sense. And also, like even now, while we're already publishing some information to the public about the new game, there's constantly new ideas coming in from your feedback. So whenever possible, we also try to add those as well, even in a very late state of the game, because that's usually what we think makes most sense to,
I bet I stopped
really
listening
give
before y'all did.
the best experience in
I'm
the
still
end.
listening.
There we go.
Vast experience or something. I think he said. I don't know.
Answer, but that's what you usually get if you ask Stefan a question.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
also,
I
really
they keep
like
adding
that
features.
We
It
have
makes
the
sense.
possibility for the viewers to, you know, get a little bit of insight from the source itself.
Well, that is.
I was laughing at the joke in the chat, by the way.
Stefan Geiger, of course, one of the founders of Giant Software.
Yeah.
You all know that by now. And every time you ask him something, if you have ever been to a physical FarmCon, every time you ask him, you get a good answer. You get an in-depth answer.
Here, you know?
He loves answering these things. And well, you need a little bit of time because he is going in depth, but you get the best answer you can get.
That's true.
It's awesome. Okay. Oh, that one is for you.
There's another one for me. Yeah.
I'd say most of the next ones are for you. If I just have a quick look here, will you be able to get achievements while playing multiplayer in Farming Simulator 22?
Yeah.
It's something we're still working on. Achievements in general are something that are we're trying to overhaul them a little bit and things for FS22. What we're definitely trying is maybe to do it that way that at least the host hosting the game would be able to get achievements. But yeah, it's not final yet. So
that would make sense.
Another one of these we'll see down the line once we get closer to release how it turns out.
To be fair, achievements are something that you do really late in development, right? Because you need a game to be almost done in order to decide which achievements can work and can't work. So it's a little bit early for that question. And I know it sounds hilarious with only 4 months until the game comes out, but achievements really is something. It's one of the last things you ever do in a game. You finalize achievements once you have decided anything else.
Exactly.
Oh, didn't know that.
Cool. Do you want to do that one for Mr. Geiger?
Yes. So there was another question. Oh, this one is actually from Bullet Bill.
From Bullet Bill.
From the UK. He asks, will you be adding some form of multi-terrain angle as default? So the soil isn't permanently at either 90 or 45 degree angles.
And as I said, we're going to give that one to Stefan Geiger as well. Because it is a dev question, definitely is.
Currently, the angles that the field texturing can have is still limited to 45 degrees. There's several reasons for that. One of the most important ones is the memory usage for the additional data that we would need to store. That not only means more memory on the client itself, but also we need to sync more data in multiplayer. We also need to store that data in the save games, and for some platforms that additional memory can be an issue. And then other important reason for us to not increase it is the visual quality. At the moment, the transitions between two different angles on the field texturing doesn't look particularly good. And to kind of reduce the number of angles to only 45-degree stepping reduces also the number of transitions you will see while doing field work. We, however, also would love to see a more granular approach here, so that's definitely something we have on our to-do list. So we need to solve a couple issues for that to make it really feasible without kind of blowing the limitations we have on the hardware. And but I cannot really say if that's going to be part of Farming Simulator 22 or if that's going to be in a future update or a future game.
All right.
I got a lot of RAM.
Hope that helps, Bill. That would be good.
Yes.
I just like how you can tell that they just grabbed him somewhere.
Stefan, get here. We need an answer.
There's no fancy background or something.
Nope.
It's just grabbing him. Like, look, we have questions.
People want to know answers. Give
Take a
them
look
to
at
us
that
now.
camera. Just basically, I love it. Thanks to, by the way, the Swiss team
Yeah.
got him to answer these questions. So this turns into an interview now because, as I
We
said,
have a few more
I think
for me.
it's only Kenny questions now and a couple for our developers.
A lot, Pepper, yeah.
Let's
Today's
start.
been a lot.
Is there going to be a way to run livestock similar to how they get run on ranches here in the western United States in large pastures? If I pronounce this wrong, I'm sorry. I'm still German. Move them to fresh pastures when feed gets low, either in vehicles or with a horse or ATV from BL in the United States.
I really like the idea, to be honest. It's kind of. Basically, we don't have the mechanics of like grazing or something similar like this in the game in FS22, but you will be able to basically use, for example, fences or similar to fence off an area like a pasture or a meadow. And you can load and also unload horses, for example. So you can like bring them there to maybe like a dedicated area where you would use them for like riding them to increase their fitness and so on. So that will be possible, but we don't have like a dedicated grazing feature or anything like that.
Cool.
Although I really like the idea. So who
Well,
knows,
you know,
maybe
there's always the next game.
Yeah,
your
that's
cattle
true.
pastures.
Sounds like it, maybe, yeah.
With production added to Farming Simulator 22, will players have a way to build in to store those products? Bale storage and pallet storage mods are popular with PC players and such would be great for slot count limited consoles to maximize performance versus rendering tons of pallets and bales. By the way, slot count still a thing in consoles.
Still a thing, yeah.
We can say that, I think. Slot count. So in order for you guys, and this is a little bit off the grid now, but to understand why slots are a thing, consoles have a limited performance, of course. You know, there is a point where you are going too far, where the performance would just die, and that's why we do have slots. Of course, with newer,
you won't be happy. Continue playing.
Yeah,
trust us.
We tried. At least he tried. I didn't. I just trust on QA.
It ain't pretty.
No, it ain't pretty. The thing is, with consoles, we know exactly where this limitation is. With a PC, you can't, because everyone builds their own PCs. You don't know where the limitation is.
No limit.
With consoles, you know exactly where this limitation is. People usually turn around and go like, oh, PCs don't have slots. They do. It's just not a slot count because we can't count it. But if you put everything on PC, your frames drop to 1. It drops to minutes per frame and not frames per second anymore. And the whole game crashes and everything. It's the same thing. It's basically you just finished your slot count just without a slot count on PC. So you need to understand that slots have to be there. It's just an indicator of where the limit of your console is. It's not
where you are currently in the space,
exactly.
basically.
It's not us limiting what you can do in the game. It's just saying this is the end. Your RAM is full if you do that. It's over. All right, good. But for the question itself, we're gonna hand it over to Marius because he has something to say about it.
Marius.
That's an important point. We made some decisions like only adding one pallet per type for production points. So you won't have multiple pallets of the same type using up space and object count. But you also have the option to set your output mode, for example, to automatic distribution, which will then directly move all the goods between the production points and not use up any space.
There you go.
I think they said
Easy
no.
enough, I'd say.
Next question.
Next individual
Bale
question.
storage, though. We need that.
Is there a stronger emphasis on animal livestock, such as breeding cattle and tending to their needs? From Matthew in Ireland, my good old Ireland.
Oh my, yes.
Oh my, yes. That's a good answer. I like where that is going.
Yeah, animals are really complicated, actually, this time around a little bit in FS22. So not only do we have the thing about breeding and tending to their needs, but they actually have different stats. So there will be, we will have several different like cow types, for example, and they will all differ a little bit in their use. So we have the Holstein cows, for example. They are perfect for producing milk on one hand, and Angus beef, that of course has a great resale value if you tend to them. And each type is also, they have different ages for when they would breed to bring newborn cattle into onto your farm, and they all need different amounts of food as well. So it's all going to be a little bit more complicated this time around with all these different types of animals. And of course, probably the most interesting thing, they will have different visuals as well. So all of them, they're getting new animations. We have completely new models and all that. And yeah, they're looking really nice so far.
And I wonder if we just leaked a feature. Martin, if you watch this, sorry. It wasn't me.
Beef
I'm not
cows.
Leakerton this time. It's him.
I like it.
Things have changed.
Zach, you're not wrong.
Can say that. Things have changed for the better, I guess.
Definitely.
It's more interesting, more complicated as well, as if our game wouldn't be complicated enough at times.
I sometimes don't know how the programmers get on with it, because it's like, this is so much.
But it's awesome.
It's definitely awesome.
I love it, and it's great. I think it might be the first time we spoke about it in this Q&A.
I think so, yeah.
You just
but I mean,
new feature.
We chose these questions for a reason, and this is a really nice one to kind of give you guys a little bit of another glimpse of what's coming.
Absolutely is. Absolutely is. Next one is about consoles again, and that one might be super interesting for like 50% of our console players at least. What will be the new gen consoles PC include that won't be available on PS4 or Xbox One? So different last gen, this gen, I'd say.
Well, it's very, very important for us to not like lock anybody out, any players, no matter if you're playing on a PS4 or PS5 or Xbox One or like one of the new Series X or S. So gameplay features and everything like that, this is all going to stay the same across all different console versions. This is something that was very important for us to the heart. There will simply be like a visual difference, of course, because the newer hardware, it has like a better junk in it, you know, so you will be able to really render like better compared to like an old gen console. So that's going to be the only difference between these two, but it's very important for everybody to still understand gameplay wise, feature wise, it's still in there, it's the same.
I think for PC players it's quite easy to understand, because we have old PCs and
exactly.
new PCs,
and we've been
PCs,
trying to support both for a long time already.
If you buy the game, I mean, all you do really is you buy one game, right? Doesn't matter what PC you have, and then you just adjust the game to your needs from a performance standpoint, like graphic and all these things. And it's the same with that. PS4, it's simply older hardware than a PS5. So it's the PS5 game on lower settings and not a different game. This is quite important. So 4K possible?
I definitely think so, yeah.
Nice. You heard it here first. And this one was not on my list.
4K possible.
So this time, Martin, we're sorry if we're leaking anything.
Yeah, and love and kisses to the influencers who bothered me with that question for weeks now, and I had the chance to do it here. How open will the productions aspect be for modders? Oh, that one is interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Will modders be able to expand this easily and maintain console compatibility? I can't pronounce that word. Last word, please.
Console compatibility.
Thank you. That's why we have an American in this company. That one, again, is for Marius, and I gonna switch over to him and see what he has to say.
Productions are built in a way where you can define your whole production point and the productions solely in XML files. So this will allow you to have production points on consoles as well and create your custom mods. So after all, you can expect lots of production mods for both PC and consoles.
That's cool. I like that.
That was quick.
Yeah, there you go.
Like
Simple, short, precise.
But not if you have to have a license for it.
Nice. I just run through this because this is a long presentation.
Name.
Can you feed animals different crops? And I think you just touch-based it in the last question. In Farming Simulator 22,
flower.
like, can you feed cows sugar beet? From Caleb in Ireland again. All my Irish lads.
All the Irish lads. So you will be able to feed them the same crops like in FS19, but of course we have the new additions with sorghum, which you'll be able to feed your pigs, horses, and also for the first time ever a total mixed ration, which you can now also mix for your cows, of course, and use that eat the animals basically.
How complicated is that though?
What?
Once you get the hang of it, it is not complicated.
Well, that
once
counts for every single aspect of our game. Once you understand how it works,
once or twice, you're gonna be fine.
I see. Will bales be improved? Not solid like a rock, but actually compressed when you grab them. From Jake in Australia.
Well, physics are a very, very difficult thing to program, first of all. A very, very difficult thing to simulate correctly as well.
They haven't fixed the bales.
We don't have any like major changes for them right now in the development standpoint because we're still a ways off from release.
Oh, no.
But we're always working on improvements down the line, and hopefully we'll just have to see what kind of features make it to the game down the road.
So we'll see.
So
30 seconds to
the
say
last
no.
one for Mr. Marius.
Yeah.
Why is there a synchronization period in multiplayer?
Oh,
I think I answered that one like 100 times. You don't seem to see this in other games. It seems mostly unique to Farming Simulator. From Alex in the United Kingdom. In the United Kingdom. And we give that one to Marius, as I said.
There are a few things which currently cannot be synchronized asynchronously, but we made some major improvements for this title, and it should be much faster than in previous games.
There you go.
Okay.
Well then.
Faster
Okay.
sucks. I'm alright with that.
There you go.
Okay.
So
Bring it
synchronization
on.
still is a thing.
Yeah. I mean, just the pure amount.
It got way quicker.
Yeah.
At least from what I've seen when you guys play with it, it got way quicker.
I mean, sometimes some players like to still complain about it, that it's a thing and everything, but thinking about just like the technical aspects, everything has to be, upon joining a game, has to be synced.
Yeah.
It's a sandbox game, again. So many different complex elements that need to be like, you, Lars, join my game. I got to give you a quick snapshot of everything that has been going on for the, I don't know, past year my server or whatever was running. And you basically, sometimes you don't even notice. You join, blup, and done.
Well, the thing is, and I said that a lot. This is one of my easiest questions to answer because I did it for 4 years now, pretty much every day. I see a lot of complaints from people saying, well, in other games you join, you get a loading screen, but everyone else can still play. The problem with that is that our game needs, as you said, synchronize the whole map. Right? If you think about games where you just drop in, drop out,
audio issues, am I right?
It might just be the position of the other players.
Right.
So you join in after the loading screen, the map is just as it is, and then the players teleport for a second, and everyone is where it should be, and you can play. For our game,
sweating from
you
all
need to
these
have all the crops in the right position. Everything has to be absolutely precise. And the synchronizing thing, if we would just let everyone else continue to play and this guy would synchronize, he would never stop because everything is growing, everything is working.
Yeah,
you need to stop for a second and go like, okay, everyone is on the same page now, start.
Exactly. If we wouldn't stop the game for that quick moment, I could continue, I don't know, cultivating, and you would never get, like, you would join and I would be 5 meters somewhere else, and
you would continue to load.
Yeah, your game just wouldn't know, like, what has he been doing in the 5 seconds that I'm already trying to get all the data straight.
So we need that quick stop. I think it's very quick in Farming Simulator 22 actually.
Yeah, it is.
It was already quicker in 19 than it was in 17, but 22 to 19, at least from what I've seen here. Of course, this is optimal.
And this is due to like all the optimization that we're not always talking about, of course, but that's all the optimization going on, like on the code alone, just behind the scenes, basically.
From what I've seen here in our QA, it's very quick now.
Yeah.
It is still there, but it's very, very quick.
Definitely.
2 more. One, can we expect an upgrade to the multiplayer system with regards to mods? The current system of having to download each missing mod individually is incredibly slow. From Jake in the United States.
Yes, we will have basically upon joining a game there will be a new button on PC that just says basically download all missing mods. If they're from ModHub.
It has to be from
ModHub. It has to be from ModHub, of course. So if you're basically playing and somebody's using ModHub mods, only ModHub mods, then it's going to be for anybody else joining the simple download all button. He's going to grab all of these because we know they're in the database of the ModHub, so easily just grab them.
Well, that does
shrink
down the list that you have to put on Google Drive.
If they're not on ModHub, obviously we can't do that because they are not in our ecosystem. So we can't just make sure that works. Nice. The last one is a very generic one. It says, what are you most excited about in Farming Simulator 22? And before you answer that, we leave it to all the 3 guys we've just seen.
Yes.
And then we talk about it and finish this.
Moments.
We start with Boris.
Definitely production chains. When I first heard of that, I went, oh wow, finally, I can do something with the stuff I harvested. And I'm really eager for that.
He's all about production chains.
There we go.
Next one, Mr. Maurus.
There are a lot of things in the new Farming Simulator that are really great, in my opinion. So the one thing is the partial execution mapping, which gives way more realistic view on the ground. So it's like 3D, and also which is really great is the gravel roads. So you really see the small stones that are staying out of the ground. So that is a really great addition to the game. And also I really like the new vehicles that we got. So we got a lot of vehicles, a great variety of vehicles. So new vehicles, old vehicles, and especially on the old vehicles, I really like the manual shifting tractors. So the manual shifting itself and the sound, how that behaves and how it sounds in the game is really amazing, and I really enjoy that.
Can we buy him a new chair? His arm is broken.
He is excited.
He's responsible for so many of the features that are in Farming Simulator 22. You know, that he's like, I could talk about this for years. Like, asking. You could tell. So the last one is Mr. Marius again.
For me personally, it's lots of small detail features which we added, like the info box in the bottom right, you know, from previous games, for the field info, which is now available for lots of different use cases and helps the player to see what's happening and give lots of information.
A lot like the global company menu.
There we go.
That would pop up.
I think everyone has something. What's your number one feature? What are you most excited about?
I mean, it's really hard to pinpoint because all of the new features coming into it, be it the seasonal growth or also our new system with the grape and olive vines, they're all cool. I think just because it ties in all of these so greatly together, for me, it's gonna be the production chain system.
GPS.
Just because of that's really something that has kind of been missing before from the previous entries, and I think that players can really this time around focus on more of the little bit more managing aspects of the game, managing their process chain and everything. So I think it's going to open up a lot of new ways to actually play the game. So that's going to be my top pick.
Yeah, well, I was about to say production chains, but I said that in interviews before. There are a couple of other things I love, so I go very quick over them. So the first of all is we are not talking about that one. There is one thing we haven't, but we're going to talk about it, and then I'm going to turn on go. It's a tinier one, but I love it. You're going to see. The second one I really want to stress because just I love it is the new sound.
Yeah.
If you have no idea what we're talking about, we're going to have a sound presentation tomorrow where we go over the new sound features. But if you remember back in the release window of Farming Simulator 19, we had a lot of complaints about sound. We got tons of feedback, and I wrote 20 pages of feedback and sent it to developers back in the days, and they took that serious. And they did a lot to the sound, and I like where this is going. I really do. I'm quite sure you're gonna enjoy the new sound features that we're gonna show
let's
tomorrow.
Just
I
say
like it.
FS22 sounds amazing.
It really does sound amazing, and we're gonna
Really
prove that
building
to
a
you
pipe for
tomorrow.
them sounds.
Other than that, as I said, there is a feature. Well, there are two features actually that we haven't announced yet. That I'm excited about.
Speaking of like the sound,
as I
are they
said,
gonna
tinier ones,
have
but as you know, I just like the
actual
tiny ones.
sound
I was excited
machine?
about no rain through roofs back in the days when we announced it for 19. It's tiny things that get me excited. We're gonna talk about that later, I can promise. For now, we are done.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Kenny, for
no
taking the
GPS.
chance to
Thank you
Dang
for
it.
having me.
all
I
these
hope
questions.
I could give a little
Well, they
bit
better
of
put the
insight.
mod
Yeah, we
really
hope you
fast.
like that Q&A. We do
So-
have another Q&A coming up. There is a form that you can fill, a Google Doc. Link should be somewhere. I don't know when.
At least we'll
I'm
be
sure
able
our
to
video team
see
will have it
how they
somewhere.
did the AI
Feel free
system
to add some questions
early
that we're
on.
gonna answer tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we do another Q&A tomorrow. Might not be us, might be the developers, might be us. Who knows?
We'll
Depends on
see.
the questions you guys send in. And if you are interested in getting more questions answered, feel free to add questions. For now, thank you for being here. Thank you guys for listening to us. I hope it was.
Thanks
a
for
little
sending in the first batch of questions.
And
Those
thanks
were
for
great.
the ambassadors to gathering them. And no thanks to Kerminator because he's not a
But yeah, he is now part of our team.
He is a community manager now.
Definitely.
So he is responsible for gathering the questions now.
Yeah.
That's
so
it.
that's really nice.
Anyway, guys, it has been fun, has been a pleasure. Thank you for joining us. As I said, if you liked what you've seen, tune in tomorrow for more. For the sound presentation, I can't stress this enough.
Yeah.
This one is awesome. And for way more other things. Thank you, guys. Have a nice evening. And we're going to see you tomorrow, I hope. Bye.
Bye-bye, folks.
There you go.
Some really good questions.
Oh.
Thanks again to all ambassadors who helped us with collecting them. As I mentioned before, if you still have anything you want to know or just want to hang out and chat with us, head over to the Farming Simulator Discord now because this concludes Day 2 of FarmCon 21. Also, you can still submit questions through our letterbox form.
Okay.
We will take a look at those questions tomorrow morning and
blown
answer
away.
as many of them as possible
Yeah.
tomorrow
We didn't
evening
get GPS,
when we are back
but
for Day 3 of FarmCon 21. Tomorrow,
Explained,
we will show you a
productions a
detailed
little
look
bit
at the
more.
new crops, the build
Detailed
mode,
look.
the changes to in-game audio, and as a special warm-up for this Farming Simulator League tournament this weekend, our friends from the Stark magazine will let FSL teams compete against each other in a real-life bale stacking
Okay, that could be kind of
challenge
fun to watch.
with real tractors. Yes, I heard some of them even had to get their tractor's license first, so I'm sure this will be a blast to watch. Thanks
get
for
a
watching,
tractor
and
license.
see you tomorrow.
Wow.
All right, so that is FarmCon apparently for today. I'm in, I think, you know.